Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Slow Your Roll. I'm Cody.
I'm Alex.
And today we're doing another episode of Reddit RPG horror stories. You've seen it before. Let's just get right into this thing. Alex, take it away.
Yeah. Well, this one was posted by Josh from accounting, and he's not really sure if this is a horror story, but it kind of sounds like it to me. So give me your opinion on this one. I had the weirdest experience a year or so ago when I decided to try 5e for the first time since the next playtest. I made a dwarf monk and joined a long-standing group. They all seemed cool, but everyone knew each other already, and they clearly had their own thing going on. I tried to fit in, but I really felt like a third wheel. I couldn't keep up with all the lore that I had built up from the 160 plus sessions, and I just felt like my character, and most importantly me, didn't really fit into the group. Also, they never really did any side chat and were really focused, which made it difficult for me to get to know everyone or make friends. It's the oddest experience I've had in a long time playing games. Nothing against anyone, they all seem like nice people, but nobody clicked. Also, 5e just did not click for me at the time. I tried to make a fun punch dancer and even asked some friends for advice, but it felt like my character had no options in combat, and every turn felt like me pressing A in an RPG.
Yikes, okay.
Right. So, I don't know. Would you call that a horror story? Dude walks into a game. It's like the dullest, driest game in the whole world, and he's like 17 chapters behind.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty tough. Let's be honest here. One of the hardest things about like being an adult and doing things is like trying to fit in once you're doing your life, you know, you got life, and then like trying to fit into a group that you don't know at all, and like actually not being able to fit into that group is like kind of tough. You know, that's a horror story on its own.
I know, right? And then the game.
It's just a subtle one. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty tough. That's pretty tough. I mean, I don't know. That's definitely, I guess that's one thing I can like pride our group on is like, we've had a bunch of people come and go, and it's always, you know, I feel like everyone's extremely welcoming to anyone that's new all the time. And that's really good.
Definitely.
You got to have that. It's a tough one.
Right. But what do you got for me?
This one is titled, I Feel So Disrespected as a DM by My Players. And it's a doozy. Okay. Here we go. I really wanted to go on a rant and see what others think about this, but I've been having difficulty finding an appropriate place to rant while also somewhere my players wouldn't see. So they picked here. Hopefully this is a throwaway account. I just finished a campaign, and it has been rocky, for me to say the least. I feel super unsatisfied with this campaign as a whole, and I've grown really frustrated with half of my group, which is 7 players in total.
Oh,
that's a decent-sized group.
Straight up.
I've had quite a few sessions to the point where I decided to start ending my 2-year campaign because I couldn't deal with it anymore. My most recent frustration, I ran a campaign of one-shots until the group could all be together for the final session. And in the middle of my combat, one of my players looks up at the monster that I'm using and starts shouting, quote, "Oh my gosh, it has this many hit points, this challenge rating," end quote. Literally while I was in the middle of playing this creature's turn. I just went cold in shock that she actually did this. She even has DM'd before and somehow thought this was okay. I honestly wanted to cancel the session right there, and maybe I shouldn't have called her out right there, but I definitely did, and I was upset that she would do something this disrespectful. I ended up getting a message later from her about how she didn't appreciate being called out in front of everyone and how it hurt her feelings, but honestly, if she didn't do it in the first place, her feelings wouldn't have been hurt. Look, I've got mental health issues of my own that I try really hard to not let affect the group. And with all the frustration from the group I've had, I've done pretty well, for the most part, to not react poorly. But I am not perfect, and they are aware of my issues, so I don't understand why they can't cut me a little slack when they were the one to essentially cheat and upset me. I don't know, maybe I'm just being ridiculous and over-focusing on things, but I'm just so incredibly angry about it still.
I don't know, man. What do you think?
I think that it is 100% taboo and like almost common sense to not be looking up. First off, don't look up the monster while you're playing, but especially don't just. That broke so many rules. So you're like looking up the monster while you're playing, shouting above the table that is like by, very crystal clear metagaming as you're doing it. And of course it's crazy disrespectful to the DM. Are you kidding me? Like, it's
definitely disrespectful, but at the same time, he kind of started the story off with like, man, do I hate my players and I'm sick of this. Like, that's really hard to get me on your side. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
it feels like this was nitpicking when he started the story that way. But at the same time, no, you shouldn't do any of the stuff that they're doing. I don't know. I just didn't want to side with that guy.
Okay, yeah. I see where you're coming from there. I didn't really... I didn't receive it that way, but since you say it, I definitely get it.
And at the end of the story, he was like, yeah, I do have like some health issues or whatever. And that stuff that people should always understand. But, if that's something that you need help with, make sure you say it. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And of course, like every one of these stories all the time, a little bit more context would be enough to actually, be able to make a clear verdict.
Dude, I would pay money for more context sometimes.
Right, I know. Because, like, I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. But yeah, that was pretty tough.
No, I feel for the guy. I really do. And I do hope that he was able to resolve some of these issues with maybe even the player that he was currently talking to.
Right.
Let's hope that's the bright side of the story.
Right, for sure. For sure. Yeah, the comments are definitely kind of on the side of this guy too. It's like, yeah, that's definitely not okay for her to do that. The other one's like, I'm with you on this one. It's one thing to look up a creature's stats during a game. It's another level of disrespect to shout them out in the middle of the combat.
No, absolutely.
Basically telling the DM that you are cheating and that there is nothing you can do about it. Yeah, all right, well, we can move on.
All right, so this one is really, really short, and it's about a new DM. It's HJ Marvel. We have Forever DM for too long, and now every time my friend is a player, his characters are OP.
Yep.
My friend has been the Forever DM for a long time, running a campaign that I'm in, and has an insanely detailed understanding of the mechanics. When I started DMing about a year ago, he made the most overpowered character I've ever seen. A multi-class between assassin, rogue, and gunslinger fighter. He completely destroyed any threat I could throw at him, such as one-hitting a boss in the surprise round. His characters make other party members look weak. Since then, he's been a player in more campaigns, such as one we're in at uni, so a British guy.
Yeah.
Despite his desires to no longer make these OP characters, he genuinely can't help himself, as it just happens while he makes them because he gets excited. Is there any hope for him? How can I fix him? And that's where the post ends.
Interesting. I mean, I definitely see it. A lot of people that have DM for a long time end up just like incidentally learning the game front to back really well.
Right.
So if you know the combos to make something, definitely OP, they can do it for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I kind of thought it in the same way that I reacted to the story a second ago. I reacted to this story in the same way, and I was like, so he's suffering from success. Yeah, what? Like, you don't like the guy because he's good at what you're doing?
Right, yeah.
Well, like, I get it, but like,
yeah,
don't hate the player, hate the game. And then literally.
Right. Yeah, I get that for sure. I mean, it is weird because it's like every aspect of the game, it's like it's a very extremely social game, even for people that don't think it is or like don't want to play it that way. Mm-hmm. It definitely is. So it is on every single player to make the game as fun as it can be to some degree. And if you are just straight up really grabbing and holding on to and hogging that spotlight in combat too, like that's a little bit of an issue. But at the same point, like on the other side of that same coin, it's like some players enjoy to play the game a different way. Like some players find min-maxing a combat-related character to be the funnest way to play the game. So you got to kind of allow for both to some degree and just find out how.
Yeah, definitely. And it kind of feels
Which is
like
hard.
right. And it just kind of feels like maybe everyone else should get a little bit of a boost or something, or maybe the Forever DM helps them in a way to accomplish those boosts. But
yeah,
I feel like there's easy ways around this problem.
Yeah, there are definitely ways. I don't know if they're easy inherently, but I imagine you could do something that would make it possible. Like you said, maybe, I don't even know, maybe find some way in the story to like give every other player an actual buff, like maybe like a higher proficiency bonus or something like that, or you know, like magic items that suit their character to make them quite a bit better. Yes. And then you can just get kind of crazy and throw in like way higher CR monsters to your encounters and stuff like that, and actually, you know, buff the enemies too to make up for it.
Absolutely. And I can already imagine it for the super OP character. It could be like everyone gets a +1 weapon, right? But like they're fighting with the weapons master, and like they break the weapon master's weapon with their just normal weapon, and they're like, oh, you don't even need it.
Yes, exactly. But okay, that it for that one?
Yep, that was that story.
Okay, this one's also kind of short, so here we go.
Okay.
Title is, Player wants to play a wizard, but does not want to play a wizard because they think that wizards are, quote, elderly men with long robes, end quote. Okay. Here we go. I am currently struggling to help someone put together a high heroic tier D&D 4E character.
Ooh, what?
They want to... Yeah, I know. And I don't know much about 4E, but... you don't even really need to get this story. You'll totally see where, you know, where the issue lies. So they want to be an unarmored, high intelligence, staff and or tome wielding elf or Eladrin who relies on arcane powers. That sure sounds like a wizard to me.
Yep.
Okay. So they also want to be a controller. Unfortunately, wizard is off the metaphorical table for them because for me, it's the word itself. Wizard doesn't meld with the myth and lore of aesthetics associated with wizards I'd seen and heard of elsewhere. They're usually elderly men with long robes, and that image from osmosis clashes with my image of the character. I suppose you could say I can't separate or reconcile them easily in my mind. So, apparently, 4E wizard subclasses are, like there's mage and witch, but they're also off the metaphorical table because their powers are all labeled wizard. Scion is also too out there thematically for them. Ideally, they want to be a mage, and yes, one wizard subclass is literally called the mage, but because all of its powers are still labeled wizard, this is too much for them to bear. This is going to be tough to work with. Bizarrely, they are a fan of Freerin, which I had to look up because I don't watch that much anime or read manga in any way. But anyway.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
Okay, so Freerin is like it's a fantasy themed manga and anime. So bizarrely, they are a fan of Freerin and are partially inspired by the aforementioned character, even though said character is sometimes translated as wizard. So there you go. What do you think of that?
What did wizards do to you? Like, I don't know what to say to that. I really don't.
I know.
Like, why do you?
I know.
That's like somebody who won't go through the drive-thru because they're like scared of drive-thrus, but they love McDonald's and they also won't go in.
Yeah, a little bit. Or like, this is like, man, I really love peanut butter and jelly, but I can't eat it even if it's jelly unless it's referred to as jam. You know, like
it's just not as jam,
I don't understand.
Man.
Yeah, it's like, but also I want the definition of jelly and not jam because I like these specific types of preserves in it, you know, or whatever. You know, like it's just, I don't know, kind of wild.
I don't know, man. I feel like they just need to like change the word in the book for him. You know, just like call it a sorcerer or a mage or a witch, whatever he needs, or. Yeah. Just show them like several different slideshows or brainwash them into believing that wizards aren't bearded men.
Right? I mean, come on. It's like you're playing pretend here, bud. Like playing pretend with rules. That's what D&D is. But I don't know. To some degree, a little bit almost, I get it because there are some times where there's just like for whatever, I am a word guy, and sometimes there are just words that just bother me, and I'm just like, I don't want that word even part of this description of the spell or whatever, because it feels like it means this or whatever. But
yeah,
this is like really taking that to the next level, you know?
No, absolutely.
So yeah, that's a big one.
I have one more very short one for you, and it's almost a meme, but the reason why I chose this was for the comments.
Okay, perfect.
You use your dex to jump because you used your quads. That's the title by Hun Amanar. And me, I want to do a high jump to reach the ceiling. DM, roll acrobatics. I mean, shouldn't it be athletics? DM, you're using your legs. I say acrobatics. What? Well, there goes my strength PC.
That's awesome.
Right.
You're using your legs. You're using muscles. It's acrobatics.
Yes. And then the first two comments are just chef's kiss. Show your DM the jumping rules from the player handbook. Spoiler based, they're strength based. And then, spoiler, you don't even need to roll to do a jump per raw.
That's true.
You just jump.
That's actually true. Yep. That is actually true. Huh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
It is silly, too, how that distinction is, like, incredibly small and, like, similar to... It's like, I don't know, do you contort your body in the air at all after you jump? Okay, it's acrobatics.
For real.
Like, at that point, it's just like, literally, just let the player, you know, if it makes enough sense, even, like, if it makes a little bit of sense and they're trying, like, just let the player play their character how they want to, for crying out loud.
Right. Can I please use persuasion to jump?
I really need to just psych up my legs. It's like, come on, legs, you can do it. Here we go. And then, yeah.
Can I intimidate the ceiling?
You better come down lower so I can grab you easier.
That's right.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
But, you know, as funny as this is, there is a new system that's coming up that'll totally eliminate any of these arguments.
Oh, yeah, for sure. To some degree. I know you're talking about DC 20, right?
Yeah. I figured that'd be your segue.
Heck yeah. Well, sure, let's just do a full-blown plug. Okay, cool. So the Dungeon Coach and the Dungeon Company is developing DC 20, the best RPG that is going to be coming out for, I don't know, probably like a decade or 100 years or something. I don't know. But it's freaking good. You should definitely check it out. We can keep it as simple as that. Okay.
If you guys like those RPG horror stories, make sure to like, comment, or subscribe. We're going to have a lot more coming your way. And do be sure to check out DC 20. I think we got to link it down in the description so that way you guys can check it out too.
Yeah, absolutely do.
We'll see y'all later.
See ya.